started with an example. You need to see how this works. And I think I've got, oh, this stinks. I only have 3 examples for you. Sorry, everybody. If you wanted more, today is just not your day. Example 1. I'd like you to find little a. And I'd like you to round to the nearest 10th. Hopefully everybody's good with rounding. Find little a, round to the nearest 10th. Let's draw a picture. Beep, beep, beep. Drawing a triangle is always easier with sound effects. Big A right here. Big C. Big B. Hopefully you know where your little a is. It's right across from big A. There's your variable. That's what you're trying to find. And let's put an 8 right here. And we'll do 17 degrees. And we'll say this is, I don't know, 51 degrees. All right, perfect. Before we start this problem, I want you guys to write off on the side. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'd like you to also write SOHCAHTOA. Go ahead and write that down. Come on. And anything else? No. I'm pretty much going back to, what we've talked about in this chapter so far, which is, basically the right triangles. Pythagorean theorem. This is not a special triangle, so I'm not even going to write that. But SOHCAHTOA. And I want you to cross both of these off. We're not able to use the Pythagorean theorem because, to be quite frank, this is not a right triangle. Now notice that they don't give you that third angle, but you could find it because every triangle adds up to 180 degrees. You guys all know that. If it's not a right triangle, that's out the door. If it's not a right triangle, that's out the door. So we are stuck. We can't use anything that I've taught you in chapter 8 so far. So we are kind of stuck with what I'm about to teach you, which is going to work with not right triangles. This is not a right triangle. All right, so what do? Well, we're going to use the law of sines. So here's how it works. Folks, we want to find little a. So let's use the sign of big A all over little a equals, now I need to work with either B's or C's here. So I'm kind of looking at what we've got in this problem, and I'm noticing that they give us a big B, and I'm noticing that they give us the opposite side of big B, which is little b. So I'm going to use the sign of big B all over little b. So here we go. Let's start plugging some stuff in, see what we got. Sign of, let's see, big A. Big A is right here. It's 17 degrees. All over little a, which is its opposite side. I don't have that. That's what we're trying to find. Equals sine of big B, 51 degrees, all over little b, which is 8. Notice before I go on in this problem that there's always going to be 4 variables. If you see what I'm looking at, there's always a big A, a little a big B, and a little b. And when you do this problem correctly, you should be able to plug, of these 4 variables here, you should be able to plug 3 of them in. Notice how I plugged the 17 in, 51 in, and the 8. You're always going to have 3 that you can plug in. If you use this formula correctly, you can always plug in 3. And one of them will be the unknown. There's your variable. Everybody, that's what we're going to try to solve for. So, plugged in 3. We're going to solve for little a. Let's keep going. I'm noticing this is a proportion, and we've worked with proportions before. We can cross multiply. So, as a math teacher, I got to draw these loops. Got to draw the loops. If you don't want to draw the loops, I'm not going to come to your houses and yell at you. Draw the loops. You do what you want to do. So that's going to be a times the sine of 51 degrees equals 8 times the sine of 17 degrees. Good. Once again, there's your variable. Trying to solve for that. And I'm noticing that this is multiplication right here. So how do we undo multiplication? Division. Divide by the sine of 51 degrees on both sides. Okay. Those are going to cancel. Let me come over here. I got a little extra room over here. So our A, which is what we're trying to solve for, is 8 times the sine of 17 degrees all over the sine of 51 degrees, which is everything that came from the previous step. Now, this is when you need your calculators. I wish I had my calculator from school. I just feel it's not right, but I'm going to get the right answer. Okay, so in order to do this problem, I need to multiply 8 and the sine of 17 on top, and then I got to divide it by the sine of 51. So here we go. Check to see if you're doing this with me. I'm going to punch out the sine of 17 first. So 17 sine. There's the sine of 17. Just punched it out. My calculator's reading 0.29 and a whole lot of other numbers. Multiply that by the 8 times 8 equals. Okay, so I just included this 8 with it. Now I need to divide that number, which is 2.3389 and some change. I got to divide that by the sine of 51. So the division button is highlighted on my calculator. I got to divide it by the sine of 51, but this calculator kind of stinks. This is almost equivalent to a crappy calculator. I got to divide it. I have to hit the number first and then sign. So divide it by 51, but I don't want to divide it by 51. I want to divide it by the sine of 51, which is that. This number right here is the sine of 51. I haven't hit the equal sign yet. It's still, the division sign is still in the calculator. So hit equals, and there's your answer. So A is 3 point, okay, before I write my answer down, round to the nearest tenth. Folks, I know this is 3. I know this is 3. You need to put a number here. If it's a 0, if it's a 2, if it's a 7, you need to put a number here. I know that 3 is the same thing as 3, but if you're rounding to the nearest tenth, then that number after the decimal place is needed. A is 3.0. It makes sense. It makes sense. And I'm just kind of looking at this problem. Now, we never really go based on pictures, but I'm looking at this. Does this look like that side right there, little a, could be 3.0 units? Yeah, it looks like it could be good. I'm looking at this side right here, which is little b. It looks like it's bigger, so works out accordingly. So this could be 3.0. Also, take a look at the angles. I have taught all of you that, to look at the angles. This is 51 degrees, so across from it is 8. This is 17. It is smaller than 51. So the side opposite of 17 has to be smaller than the side opposite of the 51, which it is. If this side was bigger, let's say it was 12.5, I would start to question this equation because that doesn't make any sense. How could this side be bigger than the 8 when the 17 is not bigger than the 51? Anyways, this is the law of sines, folks. Let's do another one. I'll make a squiggle, come down here. Let's get example 2 rolling. I want to give you one. I would like you to find, what do we want you to find? How about little b? And let's go round to the nearest hundredth. All right, let's get you the problem going. I am going to want to have you guys and gals pause this once we get this problem written down, because I want to give you a chance to do this on your own. Just like in class, I always say, hey, do this on your own. Do this on your own. I want you to actually do this on your own. So I'm going to give you all the information, then I'm going to tell you to pause, then pause, and try it on your own. 57 degrees. All right, so there's 50, there's 57. That side is 6. Let's put some units in there, inches. And here is little b, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause this, try it on your own, unpause it when you think you get the answer. Or if you get stuck, then unpause it and kind of follow along with me. But go ahead and pause. All right, if you actually paused it, gave it a shot, you're coming back, we're going to take a look at this problem. So right now, I'm noticing I do not have a right triangle. So I can't just like what I showed you up here. You can't use the Pythagorean theorem, can't use SOHCAHTOA. We are forced to use the law of sines. So let's see what we got. I've got big B and little b, so, you know, we're trying to solve for little b. So we need to do sine of big B all over little b equals, and we are going to plug the 50 degrees in here. And little b is, I'm using the same colors from the last problem. Little b is going to be what we're trying to find. So now I need a's, big A and little a over here, or I need big C and little c over here. And you've got yourself a problem because you do not have big C, but you got little c. Okay, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. We have big A, but we don't have little a. Once again, not going to work. How do we do this problem? Well, folks, keep in mind, a triangle is 180 degrees. And if you have two angles, you can always find this third angle. So if you add 50 and 57 together, you've got 107 degrees. And then subtract it from 180 degrees. Do not need a calculator. Let's do some mental math. It's 73 degrees. So this angle, angle C, has to be 73 degrees. I think I'm going to use big C and little c. So sine of big C all over little c. And once again, I've got big C, got little c. Go ahead and plug it in. Sine of big B. Where are you, big B? 50 degrees all over little b. There's your unknown. Sine of big C, 73. We just found that. Little c, 6 inches. Cross multiply. Times the sine of 73 equals 6. Oh, draw a loop. Draw a loop. Times the sine of 50 degrees. Got to get the little b by itself. If you don't know where little b is, you're not looking where I'm looking. There's little b. So once again, same thing in the last problem. Divide by the sine of 73. How's my handwriting, everybody? Pretty crappy, huh? Yep. Little b equals 6 times the sine of 50 degrees all over the sine of 73. All right, b, what do we got for b? What do we got for b? Calculator, get my calculator out. Punching all that in. So let's punch out the sine of 50 on top. So 15, there's the sine of 50. Multiply by the 6 next door. Okay, so I got the decimal on top. Decimal on top is 4.596. Lots of numbers. Divide that by the sine of 73. So 73, that's the sine of 73. Now hit equals. Bam, there's your answer. Round to the nearest hundredth. 4.8. That's the 10th place right there. 100th place is right next to it. I'm not going to write 0. Come on, we all know how to round. That 6 is going to kick that 0 up to a 1. 4.81. I rounded correctly. Let's put units, inches underneath it. There we go. Little b. 4.81 inches. Does that make sense? Let's see. Biggest angle? That should be the biggest side. This 6 should be the biggest side. That's the smallest angle. Is that the smallest side? Well, as of right now, it is. We haven't found the last side, which is little a right here. If I were to find this side, it should be, because that's the medium angle, you know, smallest angle, biggest angle. That's the medium angle. This should be the medium side. It should be between 6 and 4.81. I like this answer. It makes sense for this problem. Good to go.